Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today's video is the start of essentially a mini series for this Ruko F11Pro2 drone. Now in reality, the reason why this is going to be a bit of a mini series, well, first off today, we're going to unbox this, take a look at it in some detail. Then from there, I'm going to need to go through a little bit of a process. In order for me to legally fly this particular drone, because of its weight and size, it will need to be registered. I will need a recreational license to fly this. And that's going to take a little bit of work. So I will do that after the unboxing. And then from that point on, I can get into field testing, and that will be the future video. So more footage and field testing and showing the capabilities of this particular drone. And so before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Ruko who did provide this for review. And so I will have to premise this entire video by saying I am absolutely in no way, shape, or form a drone expert. I have never owned a drone. This is the first one for me. People at Ruko reached out to see if I would be interested in taking a look at it, and I thought this would be a fantastic opportunity to introduce drones and get those built into my channel. And so with that, I'm getting into this whole entire sort of genre of product really for the first time. Now, I know enough to be dangerous. I am a semi-professional photographer, so that helps. I have flown drones before, but I've never been responsible for the ownership, operation, maintenance, and all the setup that goes with it. So for me and for all of you, we will be getting into all of this together for the first time. But right away, you can see this definitely comes with a real nice travel case, has that heathered look, nice zipper, grab handle, pretty straightforward, but seemingly going to be a fairly rugged case and give me the ability to protect this little drone. Inside here, some foam protectant. You can see the remote, the drone itself, some batteries, and then some accessories in the upper compartment. And so just real quick, the drone itself, the remote, and then 2 batteries, connection and charging cables, remote parts, spare drone rotor blades, and the tools, user's manual and flight guide, and a quick instruction template for the remote, which is probably going to help me get started a little more quickly. But the initial impression right away is it's shocking that something so light and so small at this point needs to be registered. It's crazy how tiny this is. You can see it literally fits in the palm of the hand. It is very light. Weighing in here at 8.5 ounces, or in other words, 240 grams. Which more centered up here, I have 238 grams. So initially, without the battery, that would tell me that this does not need to be registered, because anything under 250 grams does not need to be registered. But as soon as you add that battery, well, now I am up to 364 grams of flight weight. That changes the game. Now, the other technical piece of this is that the remote itself needs to broadcast an ID. So this particular remote does meet the FAA requirements. It does broadcast the ID. So this whole entire package, even though it does require the licensing and registration, it is at least fully set up to do so. Now, the overall dimensions, again, quite small. This is about 6 inches long. We have about 3.5 inches wide. We have about 2.5 inches tall. So this is going to be very compact, very easy to port and stow away. That is going to be something that for me, I think will work extremely well, because I do like to bring, certain camera equipment with me hiking. I like to bring certain camera equipment with me to the outdoors and all my outdoor adventures. And then here you can see just unfolding this very simple, nice and open, and just still a very compact unit, all things considered. Full width here, we have about 10 inches by 10 inches square. And then at that point, obviously, the rotor's opening up, and that does make it a little bit wider in the overall total footprint. Ruko does indicate that this contains a Sony sensor on the camera. As you take a look here, very nice little camera right on the front of the unit. 3-axis gimbal. Hopefully this is going to be nice and smooth, fairly cinematic. Now, what I don't know is whether or not this particular unit, has the ability to kind of tilt, or if it tends to stay a little more flat. The different types of drones fly a slightly different way. I'm not sure if this is going to be a little more dynamic or a little more cinematic, but the testing will certainly tell. This does have a beginner mode, which, I will probably test it, but probably ultimately not use the beginner mode. Beginner mode, 1 key takeoff, 1 key landing, auto return. And then this is basically going to help to maintain stability. Has some legs on the bottom for landing, and generally speaking, fairly robust feeling. Now, I think this will be durable enough for anything I need to do. Hopefully I don't crash it, or at least crash it much. Only time will tell. We'll see how that goes. This particular model does have smart functions, like, say, for example, cruise control, follow me, waypoints. You can have it circle around you. So a number of different modes that you can program this depending on your shooting needs. Now, when it comes to the camera, 6K images, 4K video. That's going to be awesome. I like the fact that you can get 4K video out of here. I render all of my videos in 1080, and specifically for the standpoint that I feel like most people still watch on cell phones or devices that don't really require the space that 4K takes up. But when I shoot in 4K, it allows me to both digitally zoom and get just a little bit tighter or closer into the imagery without loss of information, which is great. So the fact that this is a 4K video sensor is fantastic. Slot on the side here for a micro SD card up to 128 gigabytes. So I will be certainly loading one of those right in here. Ruko does indicate that with the 2 batteries, we should get around 70 minutes of flight time. You can see a little indicator on the back. So these have basically 2 out of 4 lights lighting up, so indicating roughly 50% at the time. These will need to be charged. You can see on the side, USB Type-C recharging port. And again, 7.7 volts, 3,200 milliamp hours, translating to 24.64 watt hours of power each. Ruko also indicating you get about 10,000 feet of communication. So we'll see how that goes. That will definitely be something that I need to test, and hopefully I don't go too far. Popping this out, this is where your phone is going to go. I have a fairly large cell phone, and I wonder if I'm technically going to need to remove it from the case, which might be required. It is extremely tight, and I don't want to stress that, so it is very possible that I might need to remove my exact phone from the case in the first place. This does have your little joystick controllers. So these will thread on as you get started here. So threading these on, very simple. Not a lot to that. And you're definitely going to need to be careful not to lose these. I could see that being something a little bit detrimental. Now, as you take a look underneath, it already does come with them. So at least you have a spare set, which is definitely a nice offering from Ruko. Those do stow away right in the underside of the controller. Record button, top left. Camera angle rotate on the dial on the right. Fly up, fly down, turn left, turn right on the left stick. Fly forward, fly back, fly left, fly right on the right stick. Return to home button. Your speed switch toggle. You do have 2 different speeds. And the power button, which is a multi-use button. On the side here, you have a compass button. So that compass button will basically allow you to calibrate. So that goes into a calibration mode, and it does give you access to the GPS. You'll notice that the remote is rechargeable, leveraging the USB Type-C charging port. And then on the left-hand side, your 1 key takeoff and landing button. So with all of that, that's pretty much this in a nutshell. Certainly lots more to do, but it's going to take a little bit of research, a little bit of time, and that's something that we will get into with the field use footage in part number 2. And so, all right, guys, as I mentioned, much more to come. Thank you very much for following along. Thank you to the people at Ruko who did provide this for review. Keep an eye out for part number 2, which will be coming in the very near future. And I look forward to getting this to some quality field use. So thanks again, guys. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.